The dawn broke over Denver in a golden glow. Amidst the murmur of conversations, roaring engines, and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, the city's central hospital stood as a beacon of hope and a constant struggle against illness and pain. Alice Carter walked through the hospital corridors. Medicine was not just a profession for her, it was a calling born from a deep personal loss. When she was young, her younger brother, Ethan, had been diagnosed with a congenital heart defect. Despite all medical efforts, Ethan did not survive the surgery that was supposed to save his life. Ethan's death left an indelible scar on Alice's heart, but it also gave her a steely determination. She would never again allow another family to suffer the same loss if she could prevent it. Every patient she treated was a way of honoring Ethan's memory, a constant reminder of why she had chosen this difficult path. Her colleagues often commented on her tireless dedication and her ability to connect deeply with patients and their families. Alice knew that her work was more than just a series of diagnoses and treatments. It was a chain of acts of compassion and empathy, each contributing to the redemption of a personal tragedy. That morning, as Alice was driving to the hospital after a brief visit to her favorite coffee shop, where she had picked up some documents, her mind was torn between the papers occupying the passenger seat and the endless list of tasks for the day. However, her attention was quickly drawn to a disturbing scene on the side of the road. A small child, clearly in distress, lay unconscious in the arms of a desperate woman trying to revive him. Without hesitation, Alice parked the car and rushed to help. The medical instinct took over, relegating any other thought to the back of her mind. "What happened here?" she asked the woman quickly as she knelt beside the child. He just fainted. He was saying he felt very tired and then he collapsed. His name is Daniel, and I am Amelia. Please, help my son." The woman, visibly shaken, could barely form the words, her face etched with palpable anguish. "My name is Alice. I'm a doctor. I'll take care of him," she said in a calming voice, trying to ease the mother's worry as she assessed the child's breathing and pulse. Realizing she needed to act quickly, Alice made a quick decision. "Let's take him to the hospital now. I work there. He'll be in good hands." Carefully, Alice carried Daniel to her car, making sure to keep a constant watch on his condition during the short drive to the hospital. Amelia sat beside her son, holding his hand and whispering words of comfort, though her own hands were trembling. Upon arrival at the hospital, Alice acted with impressive efficiency, commanding the emergency team as they rushed Daniel inside, giving clear and precise instructions. "We need a CT scan and complete blood work. Quickly, please," she instructed as she followed the gurney. Inside the emergency room, as the technicians prepared Daniel for the tests, Alice turned to Amelia, who watched everything with a look of fear and admiration. "He's in good hands now. We're going to do everything we can for him," Alice assured her, her voice conveying not only professionalism but also deep empathy. Amelia nodded, unable to speak, her eyes never leaving her son. Alice placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You did well to bring him quickly. That can make all the difference," she said, trying to instill some hope in the distraught mother. As the technicians worked, Alice watched, ever attentive, ready to intervene at any moment. Her mind was focused but her heart heavy, knowing that this child and his mother were facing a terribly difficult time. When the medical report was ready, Alice had to break the news to Amelia. "The situation is serious, Amelia. Daniel has a heart defect that needs to be corrected as soon as possible. Without surgery. Complications can be fatal. Amelia felt her world spin. The walls of the consulting room seemed to close in on her, and her heart pounded, almost in sync with her son's ailing heart. In a trembling voice, she managed to murmur a response. "But how are we going to pay for this, doctor? I can barely pay the rent." Alice placed the report on the table and approached Amelia, her eyes filled with empathy and determination. "Amelia, I know this is a terribly difficult situation, but I want you to know that you will not face this alone. I am here with you, and we will find a solution together. Your son is strong, and so are we." As Amelia listened, tears began to flow freely. The worry for Daniel's life was overwhelming, but Alice's kindness and support offered a small comfort. "I don't know how to thank you. I just want him to be okay," Amelia said, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm going to talk to the hospital administration and see what can be done about the costs. There are programs and funds for cases like Daniel's, and I will do everything in my power to access them. I'm not promising it will be easy, but I promise I will do my best," Alice stated with conviction, holding Amelia's hands in hers. After comforting Amelia with steely determination, Alice went straight to the hospital administrator's office. Each step she took echoed in the silent corridors of the hospital, like an echo of her unwavering resolve. Her mind was focused on finding a solution for Daniel, remembering every detail of his condition and the possible options that could save him. She felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders, but also an inner strength that pushed her to move forward, to fight for the life of that little boy who depended on her. Upon reaching the office, she knocked on the door and waited to be received. The administrator, a middle-aged man with a serious expression, looked up from his desk. "What can I do for you, Dr. Carter?" he asked in a curt voice. "I need to discuss an urgent case, Mr. Gutierrez," Alice began, trying to remain calm. "We have a patient, Daniel, who needs immediate heart surgery. His mother has no insurance and cannot afford the costs. I want to know if there is any way to help them." Mr. Gutierrez frowned and leaned back in his chair. "Dr. Carter, you already know that the hospital has limited resources. We cannot offer expensive treatments without a guarantee of payment." Alice felt a wave of frustration, but forced herself to maintain a calm voice. "I understand the limitations, but we are talking about the life of a child. I am willing to explore all options, including assistance programs or special funds. We can't just turn our backs on him." The administrator stared at her for a few seconds before sighing. "I will review the available funds, but I promise nothing. In the meantime, you will have to find another solution." Alice nodded, grateful but unsatisfied with the answer. "Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez. I appreciate any effort you can make." Leaving the office, Alice knew that time was of the essence. She decided to seek the support of her colleagues, trusting that their commitment to medicine and compassion for their patients would move them to help. She gathered a small group of doctors and nurses in the meeting room. "Thank you all for coming so quickly," Alice began. "We have an urgent situation. Daniel, an uninsured child, needs immediate heart surgery. The administration cannot cover the costs, but I believe we can find a way to help him." The faces around her showed a mixture of concern and determination. Dr. Harrison, an experienced surgeon, was the first to speak. "Alice, you know we're all here for the patients. If there's anything we can do, count me in." Nurse Lopez nodded firmly. "I agree. We can't let a child suffer for lack of resources. I'll help too." Alice felt a wave of gratitude and hope wash over her. Her heart swelled with appreciation as she looked at her colleagues, who were willing to help in any way possible. Thank you all for being here and for your unconditional support, she said in a firm but emotional voice. We need to coordinate the use of the operating room to ensure it is available at the exact time, and carefully check that we have all the necessary supplies, from surgical equipment to medications and post-operative support materials. I will also need to speak personally with Daniel's mother, explaining in detail the risks involved in the entire surgical process, so that she feels safe and understood every step of the way. With the unwavering support of her colleagues, Alice began to meticulously plan every detail of the surgery. They gathered the surgical team, set schedules, and held meetings to ensure everyone understood their roles and responsibilities. Every step of the process was carefully reviewed, from pre-operative preparation to post-operative recovery. Alice was aware that the stakes were high. Daniel's life hung in the balance, and the outcome of this operation could also significantly influence her own medical career. That same afternoon, Alice sat down with Amelia in a small private room. Amelia, we have decided to proceed with Daniel's surgery. I want you to know that this is something we are doing because we believe in life and hope. Don't worry about the costs now. We will take care of that. Amelia burst into tears of relief. I don't know how to thank you, Doctor. I'll do anything I can to help. I just want my son to be okay. Alice took her hand. I understand. Daniel is strong, and we will do everything we can to give him the best chance. I need you to sign these consent forms so that we can proceed without delay. Amelia signed the documents with trembling but determined hands. Alice comforted her with a warm smile and words of encouragement before returning to the team to finalize preparations. On the morning of the surgery, the hospital was calm. Alice and her team worked meticulously, every movement calculated and precise. The tension was palpable, but the determination to save Daniel was even greater. Hours later, Alice emerged from the operating room with a look of weariness but hope. She found Amelia waiting anxiously in the hallway. The surgery is over, and Daniel is stable, Alice said with a reassuring smile. We will have to monitor him closely, but all indications are that he will pull through. Amelia hugged her tightly, tears of gratitude streaming down her face. Thank you, Doctor. You saved my son. Alice felt a mixture of relief and satisfaction. She knew she had taken risks, but seeing hope reborn in Amelia's eyes and knowing that Daniel had a new lease on life made it all worthwhile. However, her peace of mind was short-lived. The next day, Alice was called to the office of Dr. Nicholas Ibarra, the hospital director. The atmosphere in the office was tense, with papers scattered on the desk, and Ibarra's face reflecting a mixture of concern and determination. Alice? Ibarra began, adjusting his glasses and looking directly into Alice's eyes. I have been informed about the surgery you performed yesterday. Is it true that you proceeded without the hospital's authorization and without secured financial resources? Alice met the director's gaze, her voice firm, though her heart was pounding. Yes, Dr. Ibarra. Daniel's situation was critical. There was no time to wait. We did what was necessary to save his life. The director sighed deeply, rubbing the bridge of his nose before responding. I understand your intention, Alice, but you have violated hospital protocols and put our financial resources at risk. We cannot allow this to go unnoticed. Alice felt a knot forming in her stomach. Dr. Ibarra, I know I broke the rules, but isn't our primary responsibility to save lives? Daniel needed that surgery urgently. Ibarra rose from his chair, pacing around his desk. Alice, it's not just about saving lives. We have to follow a procedure to ensure that we can continue to provide our services to all patients. Your action, while noble, has jeopardized our ability to operate." After a long silence, the director returned to his desk and looked at Alice sadly. "Unfortunately, I have no choice but to ask you to hand over your ID and hospital materials. You are dismissed, effective immediately." Alice felt as if the ground had opened up beneath her. "I understand," she replied in a broken voice. "I will do what is necessary to ensure a smooth transition." With those words, Alice left the office, her mind filled with confused thoughts and conflicting emotions. She had saved a life, but now her career was in jeopardy. She walked through the hospital corridors, feeling each step taking her further away from her vocation. As she reached the exit, she saw Amelia waiting with Daniel. The expression of gratitude on Amelia's face was enough to give Alice a sense of inner peace. She had done the right thing. "Dr. Alice," Amelia said, approaching her. "I've heard what happened. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to thank you for saving Daniel." Alice smiled sadly. "Amelia, you don't need to thank me. I did what I had to do. Now, I need to find a new path." Alice left the hospital with a mixture of pride and sadness. She knew her decision had been the right one, but she also understood the consequences. The search for a new job began immediately, but every door she knocked on seemed to close quickly. Rumors of her dismissal had spread, staining her reputation. Weeks passed, then months, and Alice began to feel increasingly desperate. Medicine was her life, but it seemed that the world was turning its back on her. Every job application she sent seemed to fall into a void, and her savings were dwindling rapidly. However, Alice remained hopeful, convinced that sooner or later she would find an opportunity. One afternoon, while checking her mail, she found an unexpected letter. It was in an elegant envelope, and, upon opening it, she discovered it was from Michael Torres, a businessman known not only for his business success, but also for his philanthropy and support of various social causes. The letter was brief, but to the point. "I have heard of your courage and dedication. I would like to meet with you to discuss a possible collaboration." Alice felt a mixture of curiosity and hope as she read those words, her mind beginning to imagine the possibilities that might arise from this meeting. She decided to accept the invitation without hesitation, recognizing the potential help that Michael Torres could offer. The next day, with her heart pounding with a mixture of nerves and excitement, Alice went to Michael's office. Upon arriving, she found herself in a space that was both elegant and welcoming, flooded with natural light streaming in through large windows. The walls were adorned with contemporary artwork, each piece carefully chosen to create an inspiring and tranquil atmosphere. Michael, a middle-aged man with an imposing yet kind presence, greeted her with a warm smile. "Alice, it's a pleasure to meet you in person. I've heard so much about your work and your dedication to your patients. Please, have a seat." Alice sat down, trying to remain calm. "Thank you, Mr. Torres. It's an honor to be here. I'm interested in learning more about the proposal you mentioned in your letter." Michael nodded, clasping his hands on the desk. "As you know, I have been involved in several community projects, particularly in the area of healthcare. I want to offer you the opportunity to lead a new community clinic that I plan to open. The clinic would be focused on providing medical care to people who cannot afford expensive treatments. Your experience and passion for medicine would be invaluable to this project." Alice listened intently, feeling a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "This is a very generous offer, Mr. Torres, but it is also a great responsibility. I am concerned about the long-term viability of the project, especially considering the financial challenges." Michael smiled, as if he had anticipated that response. "I understand your concerns, Alice. I want to assure you that I have the necessary resources to support this project. In addition, we plan to partner with several non-profit organizations and obtain grants to ensure the clinic's sustainability. Most importantly, we need someone with your vision and commitment to lead this effort." Alice took a moment to process the information. The idea of running a community clinic resonated deeply with her values and her desire to make a real difference in people's lives. However, she could not ignore the risks. "I would like to think about it a little more, Mr. Torres," she finally said. "It's an important decision, and I want to make sure I can meet expectations." Michael nodded, his expression understanding. "Of course, Alice. Take all the time you need. This is a decision you must make with complete confidence. I'll be here to answer any questions you may have." After the meeting, Alice found herself walking through the city streets, reflecting on Michael's proposal. She knew this could be the opportunity she had been waiting for, but she was also aware of the implications. That night, she decided to talk to Amelia, seeking her perspective and support. "Do you really think I should accept?" Alice asked after explaining the situation. "It's a big step, and honestly, it scares me a little." Amelia, who had been listening attentively, nodded firmly. "Alice, I know you have doubts, but I think this is an incredible opportunity. You've proven to be an exceptional doctor and an incredibly compassionate person. If anyone can make this clinic work, it's you. Also, think about how many people you could help. Daniel and I are proof of what you can achieve." Alice smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude. Amelia's words gave her the confidence she needed. "You're right, Amelia. Maybe this is my chance to really make a difference." The next day, Alice met with Michael again at his office. The room was filled with blueprints and documents related to the new clinic. Michael, with an expression of satisfaction, extended his hand. "I'm glad you decided to join this project, Alice. Together, we can make a big difference." Alice nodded, shaking Michael's hand. "I'm ready to start. What's the first step?" "First, we need to find a suitable location for the clinic," explained Michael. "I have identified some potential locations in communities that really need medical care. I want you to review them and tell me which one you think would be the best option." Alice spent the next few days visiting the possible sites, evaluating each one carefully. Finally, she chose an old but well-located building in a community with a great need for medical services. The place had potential, though it required significant renovations. Once the location was decided, the arduous task of assembling a team of medical professionals who shared her vision and commitment began. She contacted former colleagues and medical students she had previously worked with, inviting them to join this new project. "We need people who are not only excellent in their field, but who also have a deep sense of compassion and community service," she would tell them at every meeting. Among the first to respond was Dr. Harrison, a respected surgeon who had worked with Alice in the past. "Alice, I have always admired your dedication. Count on me for whatever you need," he told her during a phone call. Nurse Lopez, known for her efficiency and empathy, also agreed to join the team. "I couldn't pass up this opportunity to work with you again and help so many people," she said when they met at a nearby cafe to discuss the details. As the team came together, renovations on the building began. Michael took care of the financial and logistical aspects, ensuring that every detail was handled effectively. Alice oversaw the progress closely, balancing her time between clinical planning and construction supervision. One day, while reviewing the facility plans, Alice received an unexpected visit. Amelia and Daniel arrived to see how things were going. "We wanted to see the place where so many lives are going to change for the better," said Amelia, smiling. "I'm glad you're here," replied Alice, taking them on a tour. "This will be a place of hope and healing. Every time I see the progress, I feel more motivated to move forward." The months passed, and finally the opening day arrived. The clinic was ready, with modern facilities and a welcoming atmosphere. The walls were adorned with murals painted by local artists, depicting scenes of health and community. Opening day was a significant event for the community. Families gathered in front of the clinic, eagerly awaiting the beginning of a new era of accessible health care. Michael and Alice were on stage, ready to address the crowd. "Today, we are not only opening a clinic," began Michael, looking out at the audience. "We are opening a place of hope, a place where every individual will receive the care and attention they deserve." Alice continued, her voice filled with emotion. "This clinic is the result of a shared dream and the hard work of many dedicated people. Here, every life matters, and every person will be treated with dignity and respect. I am honored to be a part of this journey with all of you." Amelia and Daniel were in the front row, applauding along with the crowd. For Alice, seeing them there was a reminder of why she had taken this path. Once the ceremony was over, they began to receive the first patients. The clinic team worked diligently and compassionately, making sure that each person received the best possible care. The community responded with gratitude and support, recognizing the positive impact of the clinic on their lives. Alice was in her office, reviewing some files, when Michael entered. "It seems that everything is working perfectly," he commented, sitting down in front of her. "Yes, but this is just the beginning," replied Alice. "There is so much to do, so many projects and programs that I want to implement. I want this clinic to be more than just a place of treatment. I want it to be a center for education and prevention." Michael smiled, admiring Alice's passion. "I have no doubt that you will achieve everything you set your mind to, and I will be here to support you every step of the way." Days at the clinic passed with seeming normality. Alice and her team worked tirelessly, attending to patients with dedication and compassion. The community was grateful, and the clinic's success seemed assured. However, amidst this apparent tranquility, disturbing signs began to emerge that Alice could not ignore. One afternoon, while reviewing the clinic's financial reports, Alice noticed something strange. There were transactions that did not seem to have a clear explanation, large sums of money coming in and out without apparent justification. She decided to investigate further, but she did so cautiously, aware that any misstep could have serious consequences. Alice began to ask discreet questions, talking to administrative staff and reviewing additional documents. Little by little, she discovered a worrying pattern. The transactions were linked to bank accounts that did not correspond to any known clinic supplier. The uneasiness grew within her, but she knew she needed concrete evidence before taking any action. One night, after everyone had gone home, Alice stayed at the clinic to review the files in depth. The dim light of her desk lamp illuminated the scattered documents as she immersed herself in the maze of figures and data. Examining one of the bank statements more closely, she found a name that was familiar to her: Michael Torres. With her heart racing and a steely determination, Alice knew she couldn't waste any time. She had in her possession the proof she needed to unmask Michael. But she was also aware of the danger she was in. She decided to proceed cautiously and immediately contact Inspector Gutierrez. "Inspector, I have irrefutable evidence that Michael Torres is using the clinic to launder money. I need your help to take this to the authorities without him suspecting, said Alice, her voice trembling slightly with adrenaline. Inspector Gutierrez listened intently, aware of the gravity of the situation. Alice, I know this is not easy for you. We are going to proceed carefully. We need to make sure we have everything in order before making any moves. Days passed, and the tension mounted. Alice continued her work at the clinic, trying to maintain an appearance of normality while working with Gutierrez to gather more evidence and plan the intervention. Every encounter with Michael was a challenge, hiding her knowledge and waiting for the right moment to act. Finally, the day arrived. The police, armed with arrest warrants and the evidence provided by Alice, prepared for the raid. Alice, nervous but resolute, was informed by Gutierrez of the plan. Tonight, we will make the arrest. Stay away from Michael and follow our instructions. That afternoon, Alice felt the weight of the world on her shoulders as she worked. She watched Michael from a distance, knowing that soon everything would change. As night fell, the clinic began to empty, and the police team discreetly positioned themselves around the building. At 8 o'clock, the operation began. Gutierrez led the team, quickly entering Michael's office. Michael Torres, you are under arrest for money laundering and other illegal activities. You have the right to remain silent. Michael, surprised and furious, tried to resist. What is this? Who dared to... His gaze turned to Alice, who was watching from a distance, with a mixture of sadness and determination on her face. Michael, you brought this on yourself, Alice said firmly. I couldn't let you keep using the clinic for your criminal activities. Michael was handcuffed and taken away by the police, while the other officers secured the office and collected more evidence. Alice felt a wave of relief and sadness. She had done the right thing, but the emotional cost was high. Days later, the investigation confirmed all the accusations. Michael had used the clinic as a front to launder money from various illegal activities. The community was shocked to find out, but many showed their support for Alice, understanding that she had acted with integrity. At the trial, Michael faced a harsh sentence. During the hearing, he looked at Alice one last time. Alice, I'm sorry. I never wanted this to affect you this way. I was wrong. Alice, with a firm look, replied, Michael, your actions have consequences. What you did was an abuse of trust, and I couldn't allow it. I hope you use this time to reflect. Michael was sentenced to several years in prison, and Alice felt relieved to know that justice had prevailed. However, she knew that the road to recovery for the clinic and for herself would be long. The clinic faced a monumental challenge. Finances were in ruins, and community trust had been shaken. But amidst the adversity, Alice found renewed strength and unwavering determination. She knew that the clinic's mission was more important than ever. One morning, while reviewing financial reports, Alice received a call that would change the course of the clinic. It was from the International Medical Foundation, an organization that had heard about her struggle and was interested in supporting her cause. Dr. Alice Carter, we have followed your work closely, and we would like to offer our help to rebuild and expand your clinic, said the voice on the other end of the line. Alice felt a wave of hope and gratitude. Thank you. Your support would be invaluable at this crucial time. With the Foundation's support, the clinic began receiving funds and resources. The news of the support spread quickly, and soon other donors and organizations joined the cause. The clinic became a symbol of resilience and dedication, attracting the attention of media outlets and public figures. Each day, Alice worked tirelessly, overseeing renovations and making sure the clinic not only regained its functionality, but also improved its services. She implemented new preventive health and education programs and established partnerships with other medical institutions to offer specialized treatments. One day, while walking through the of the clinic, Alice was approached by a young doctor. "Dr. Carter, I'm Dr. Ryan Alvarez. I've heard a lot about you and your work here. I would love and learn from you." Alice smiled, seeing in Ryan the same passion and commitment she had at the beginning of her career. "Welcome, Dr. Alvarez. We are delighted to have you with us. Here, we all work together to serve." Over time, the clinic became a model for other medical institutions. Alice's successes and methodology and replicated in various parts of the country. The conferences and seminars she attended became platforms where she shared her vision and experience, inspiring other healthcare professionals. Despite numerous job offers and collaborations from large organizations, Alice decided to stay true to her original mission. She turned down several lucrative proposals, preferring to focus on the community clinic. She knew that was where she could make the most significant difference. The clinic continued to thrive, and Alice, with her team, continued to innovate and improve services. They introduced advanced technology for diagnostics and treatment, and expanded their community outreach programs. The relationship with the community was further strengthened, and trust was fully restored. Alice, in her moments of reflection, would look back and remember all that had happened, from the tragic loss of her brother, the betrayal of Michael, to the moments of triumph and success. Each experience, however difficult, had shaped her character and her vision. Looking to the future, Alice felt proud of what she had accomplished, but also excited about what was yet to come. With a dedicated team by her side and the support of a grateful community, she was confident that together they could face any challenge and move forward, bringing the light of hope and healing wherever it was needed most. Alice's story is a deeply moving journey full of challenges that reflects the true essence of dedication and compassion in medicine. From the tragic loss of her brother to the betrayal of Michael, every obstacle Alice faces serves to strengthen her character and reaffirm her commitment to her mission. The way she tirelessly fights to maintain the integrity and mission of the clinic, despite adversity, is a testament to her courage and determination. Alice not only saves lives through her medical skills, but also inspires others with her example of leadership and humanity. Her ability to overcome distrust and restore faith in the community shows that honesty and compassion are powerful tools for positive change. The most profound lesson that can be drawn from Alice's story is the importance of maintaining integrity and compassion, even in the most difficult of circumstances. Her journey reminds us that through dedication and commitment to the well-being of others, it is possible to overcome any obstacle and create a lasting impact on people's lives. If you find the journeys of our characters inspiring, we would love to hear your thoughts. Please like this video and leave a comment to share how their stories have touched your heart. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode of these uplifting tales that highlight the power of connection, human bonding, and resilience. By subscribing, you'll join a community of viewers who believe in the strength of the human spirit. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to sharing more heartfelt stories with you.